It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. This is my things you may have missed and Easter eggs for Season 10, Episode 10, which was called Stalker. For those of you that are new here, we're bringing back this segment that we used to have, which is things you may have missed and Easter eggs for the episode that just aired. Right now, we're gonna have this for every episode for the second half of Season 10 to see how many people are actually interested to follow this segment. If we get enough interest, we will follow this trend for episodes in season 11 as well. So before we get to it, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to press the like button, because that's one of the ways I can actually see how many people are interested in this video and similar types of videos, and how many people would like me to continue this type of video. So with that said, let's jump right into it. So the first Easter egg or callback that we're going to talk about is when we have Judith talking to Gamma, who is in a jail cell. So that's actually a direct callback or an Easter egg for something that happened back in season 9. If you remember, it was Judith who was talking to Negan in his jail cell. So this is a great callback to that, and in a way, they're pretty much showing that Judith has a habit of talking with people who are prisoners at Alexandria. The next callback we're going to talk about is Beta sneaking his way into Alexandria. Now, obviously, this specific sequence with Beta sneaking in and killing the Alexandrians had a lot of slasher movie or horror movie vibes to it, which was pretty cool and pretty awesome. And we do see certain shots of Beta inside the houses, and it's like he is like a serial killer. What I thought was pretty awesome was that this is actually a cool callback to something that happened back in like season 6, I think, with the wolves attacking. We had this specific episode where the Alexandrians were just chilling. Carol was like smoking a cigarette, and there were wolves running around and killing people. Remember that? It just came out of nowhere. Beta going into the houses and killing the Alexandrians had similar vibes. Maybe others didn't feel that way, but to me it was definitely like an Easter egg or a callback to that moment back in season 6. Beta actually sneaking his way into Alexandria, his arm out of the grave, is actually an Easter egg for zombies. Like, when you think about old school zombie movies and old school zombie stories, zombies sticking their arms out of the grave is a classic scene. So Beta sticking his arm out of the grave is definitely an Easter egg for that, like the imagery. The next thing we're going to talk about is Beta going to the jail cell to take Gamma away. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of questions. How did he know where the jail cell was? How did he find the keys and all of that? So the first thing, he probably knew exactly where the jail cell was because Dante was a Whisper spy. So he most likely like drew a map of Alexandria and where the buildings are. In terms of where he found the key, that's a great question, and I don't really have an answer for that. The only thing that comes to my head is someone that he killed in one of the houses had the keys and he grabbed it. That's definitely like a plot hole, you can call it. And speaking of Dante, the fact that Beta actually knew how to get into Alexandria or how to sneak his way in from the tunnels, with the grave being in the perfect position for him to get out, was also probably done by Dante. Like, he was the one that set everything up. The next Easter egg is the scene between Mary and Laura. Now, what made that scene super interesting for me, and it made it pop, was that both of these, Mary and Laura, were ex-enemies. Mary was an ex-Whisperer and Laura was an ex-Savior. So the fact that Laura, an ex-Savior, saved Mary, an ex-Whisperer, was super awesome, and it added more layers to the scene, and it put more depth into that whole kind of sequence of events that happened. Next thing we're going to talk about is this message that was left for Alpha to see. Now, I think Lydia was the one that left this message for Alpha. The message itself, "Your way is not the only way," I think is a callback to Negan and what he said back in season 7. Negan was talking to Daryl. Negan told Daryl, you can go through one of two doors. The first door you can go through, and on the other side of it, you become a savior. Door number 2 is the one where you don't want to become a savior, and you don't want to become Negan, and I kill you, and that's it. and he said there is no door number 3. This is the only way. Remember that? So I think this message, your way is not the only way, is a callback to that. Next thing we're going to talk about also relates to Lydia. Now, if we take a look at this scene where Lydia came to help Daryl, we can see she's carrying these arrows with her. Now, these arrows were probably from Daryl's crossbow. Like, Daryl is probably the one that gave them to her. But also what's super interesting is that Lydia actually used these arrows in this episode, and we'll get to that. But before we do that, one thing I want to mention quick is that Lydia here actually reminds me a lot of Ellie from Last of Us. So I thought that was pretty cool. Speaking of Last of Us, some exciting news. They just announced that they are going to be making a Last of Us TV show on HBO. It's going to be directed by the same director from Chernobyl, that TV show. I haven't watched that, so I don't know what he can bring to the table, but the showrunner, or the one that's going to write it, is Neil Druckmann, the person who actually wrote Last of Us, the game. So that's pretty awesome, and I'm super hyped for that, and I'll definitely cover that TV show when it's out on this channel. And it's a great way for us to expand the channel and to grow the channel into other things non-Walking Dead related. But back to Lydia, so she did use these arrows. She used it once when she killed the walkers near the cave, and this was around the same time that Daryl was sneaking around that area and he wanted to kill the Whisperers, but she also used that arrow to kill this Whisperer right here. So when this happened, I thought that Daryl was the one that shot this Whisperer in the background before Daryl attacked Alpha, but Daryl didn't have his crossbow, so he couldn't have. So this must have been Lydia. So Lydia must have been around. So that's pretty awesome, and it actually makes it more interesting. So Lydia was around, she was watching Daryl, she was watching Alpha. So that makes this story more interesting, and it puts more complexities into the story for this episode. And last but not least, the scene where we have Daryl laying down next to this tree with Lydia is actually a callback to Rick laying next to the tree at the end of All Out War, right after he cut Negan's throat. So that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to press the like button so that I know that you guys do enjoy these types of videos and I can continue doing this segment. But also, if you are not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe to join our community, and just let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.